Hi, hi, hi. So, how are you doing? Today I want to talk to you about something that I believe that every lady should be thinking about, every lady should have in mind, and every lady should have at the back of their mind. Because really, sometimes we find ourselves in some situations that are just not cool, just not okay. In case you are joining for the first time, my name is Rejoice, and I am your neighborhood best friend. I am your online best friend, and I am here to talk to you today about situationships. You heard me says situationships. Girl, we just finished talking about boundaries the last few days, and I just feel that we got to talk about the situationships because it's escalating, especially for us that are believers in the body of Christ, and stuff is happening. We see campus presidents and campus fellowship presidents talking to four sisters in the name of I am the president, and we are we are leading together, or we are getting to know each other, and we see people just stuck in this funk that they should not be, that they just should not be. So anyways, let's talk about it. Situationship. How on earth do you get stuck in a situationship, and what is a situationship? Let's start with what is a situationship, and then the characteristics of a situationship and how on earth do you get out of it. Well, situationship is when you guys are just talk, you don't even know what is going on, so you're not sure if you're dating or you're not dating. And in fact, Urban Dictionary defines it as when you are not really sure what you want, you don't want much, and you don't want to, and you're scared to actually go out there and talk about the norms or the expectations of it. And guys, it is an undefined relationship. That is for me the definition of situationship: an undefined relationship, an undefined relationship, an undefined relationship, an undefined relationship. That is what situationship is for me. It is an undefined relationship. And I need you to just come out of that place where that we begin to define relationships. One of the things that we talked about in boundaries is our ability to be clear on what the expectations are for the relationship, because if we're not clear about what we want, then everything will be permissible, everything would seem okay, everything would just seem just right, just enough. Let's talk about some characteristics of a situationship so that you can know if you are actually in a situationship, or maybe there's something there. Some characteristics. Number one, undefined. You guys have not have had that what are we conversations. He calling you every day, you're picking his calls every day, and you don't even know what you are. Because if I ask you, are you dating? Are you planning to get married? What exactly is going on? You just don't have an answer for me. So there are no expectations, it's not defined, there are no boundaries. And sometimes us as ladies feel very scared to ask that question of what are we? Well, sis, that question, what are we, is going to save your life, especially if you are in a situationship, because sometimes brothers just enjoy the perks of an available sister without actually wanting the responsibility of the sister. And as a sister to sister, I gotta tell you, you cannot afford to permit it. Hello, hear me today. You can't afford to permit that, because it is extremely dangerous. Number two, there is no consistency. No consistency. So he can call you every day for 2 weeks, he can blank you out for 3 weeks, and then he can go ahead and call another sister for 2 weeks. And then if he's not feeling her, he'll come back to you and say, I missed you. And then for 2 weeks, you were without him, and you were thinking, what did I do? Are we really in a relationship? Am I expected to be disappointed? And all of that. So, no consistency. That is it. All right. And number three, no mention of the future. There is absolutely no mention of the future. The moment you begin to insert yourself into his life, he begins to say things like, let's calm down, let's slow down. Don't you think we're going too fast? Yeah, sis, that's beginning to sound a lot like a situationship. Because if you are planning to do long term and uncle doesn't think that you're good enough for it, it is better that you let him go instead of sitting and then not getting what you want at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you need to get yourself in that space where you know, is this person going to be in my future? What exactly is going on? And then just almost the same as no consistency, but it's based on convenience. You know, he treats you like you're an option, and you're busy giving your all to a person that treats you like an option. Girl, we got a problem. Like, you're not an option. You're not an option. You're not an option. Seriously, you are not an option. And putting yourself in that situation makes you emotionally vulnerable, because you begin to doubt and second guess yourself. You begin to feel like, am I good enough? And then it's not just, sometimes we feel our decisions just affect that particular thing. But sis, let me tell you something. Your circumstances are not just limited to one particular part of your life. One action has the ability to affect every other aspect of your life. So if you're second guessing your relational life, then you're most likely going to begin to second guess even your work life. You're going to begin to second guess your work. Am I doing a good job? Am I good enough? Am I producing well? Am I doing well? Am I giving my best? Stuff like that. Because girl, that's just not the plan. That's just not in the plan. And you need to transcend from that space where you begin to see as God sees, you begin to live as God lives, and then you begin to see possibilities where he gives you those possibilities. All right? Because girl, ambiguity is not funny. Relationship that have no commitment has the tendency to raise your anxiety and also make you uncertain about other aspects of your life. So what do you got to do? Define that relationship. You need to define that relationship. Define it, define it, define it. And let me also say that it is not just the brothers that are pushing situationships. We have sisters who are expecting boyfriend benefits without boyfriend responsibility or boyfriend title. And so they are talking to 10 brothers at once. If that's you, I'm not here to judge you, but you got to stop doing that because it's going to come and bite you in the future. The truth is, whatsoever we sow, we reap. You may not reap it relationally, but you can definitely reap it in every area of your life, any other area of your life, girl. And you're too pretty, you're too valuable, and you're too important for that. Playing a man doesn't come with any applause. It doesn't come with any interesting thing, like anything really extravagant about it. You've got to learn that playing anybody means you're playing with that person's feelings, you're messing with somebody's feelings, you're messing with their heads, you're messing with their life. Like they look forward to being with you, and you're throwing that back in their face. That's just not cool. Anyways, let's talk about how to get out of situationships. How do you get out of situationships? One of the key things that you need to know in relationship, any relationship, whether it's a same-sex relationship, you and your fellow sister that are just being friends, or you and a guy that has just come into your life, a classmate, a teacher, or whatever, whoever it is that comes into your life, you have to be clear on what you want right from the start. So for example, when you were filling the form for the Bora Squad, one of the things we asked you was, what is your expectation? What do you want from this relationship? Because I don't want to meet an expectation that was not your expectation in the first place. Else, we are going to be in a situationship, girl. And even when you joined the group, I still asked you, what is your expectation? The reason for that is for you to be clear on what you want, so that I begin to answer you or respond to you on the basis of your wants. So That is one counsel I'll give everybody that is listening to me right now. Be clear, be thoroughly clear about what you want. All right. So, number one, way of getting out of situationship, checking with your wants. What do you want? Self-reflection will help you put yourself first in a place where you establish clarity and tell yourself what you're looking for, because sometimes people are actually treating us as a feedback on how we treat ourselves, how we see ourselves, and how we are looking at ourselves. So people are actually bouncing back on the emotions that we project to them. And so, girl, you need to be careful so that you know what you're projecting, you know what you're passing on, you know what you're expecting, you know what you're asking for, consciously or unconsciously. So, number one, know what you want, check in with your own wants and be clear about them. Number two, attempt to define the relationship. You can meet the person, and situationships, I think I've talked about it so much in a romantic light, but I actually need to also talk about it in other aspects. Some of y'all have best friends that are not your best friends. You think they are your best friends, you call them best friends, but they don't see you as best friend. That's a situationship right there, and that needs to be fixed. Some of you have mentors that don't know they're mentoring you. That's a situationship right there. You have a spiritual father that don't even know your name, that your number ain't saved on their phone. That's a situationship right there. So it is very important that first you check in with what you want. What do I actually want from this person? What do I actually want from this relationship? What are my wants, my needs, my desires? What am I trying to achieve from being with this person, from hanging around this person? So we see that situationship is just an undefined relationship. As long as you don't know what is happening, what's going on between the two of you or the group of you or something, that is a situationship right there. So number one, know what you want, actually know what you want. Number two, attempt to define that relationship based on the things you've seen in your own words, but don't just attempt to define it and actually accept your assumptions. Now approach the person, and if it's a guy, for example, you can say something like, hi, so we've been seeing each other and talking for a while, and I've been catching feelings for you, and I just want to know how you're feeling about things, because I don't want us to enter into a place where something happens and you got to move on, and I think you broke my heart and we were never together in the first place. All right, you can ask simply, please, what are we? Yep, what are we? What are we is such a great one. If it's a girlfriend, you can meet her and be like, hey, uh, with the way we've been close lately, I've been seeing you as my best friend. I just want to make sure that you feel the same way. I just want to make sure that you're thinking the same thing. I just want to make sure that you're in the same mental zone, mental space about everything that we've been talking about. And it's not just me that is feeling that way, but you are actually reciprocating the feeling. You get it? Because honestly, I want us to get to that space where we're now okay with accepting the hurt of a defined relationship while moving on with our lives. Yes, be hurt. Yes, get healed. But then at the end of the day, you should now come to that place where you permit yourself to move on where is necessary. Don't stay pining over someone that is not thinking twice about you. Don't stay there pining over someone that is not thinking twice about you. If it's a mentor, please ask, sir, I've been following you for a while. I just wanted to know if you could mentor me formally, officially, and all of that, or even your spiritual father or something like that. We're gonna have that conversation in class, I think. If we've not had it already, we will have it in class about it. So if I forget, remind me. But we should be having that conversation, especially about spiritual fatherhood and mentorship, because some of you, you need to be clear. There are some people you can. It's okay to follow them silently if you don't want to make that commitment. But if you want a committed relationship from people, then you got to make that commitment to them first, or even ensure that both of you are on the same page. Number three, believe what they tell you. Girl, if a guy tells you I don't want you, if a girl tells you you're not my best friend, we're not even friends in the first place, please believe them. Like, this is one of the ways to get out of a situationship. What they say, don't assume they said what they did not mean, or they are thinking something else, or maybe they are having a bad day. Don't assume it. Believe what they tell you. In fact, to help yourself, when they say something, echo it back at them. For example, if the guy says something like, "Oh, we are, I think we're just friends," then you can say to him, "So what you're saying is that there is no romantic feeling on your part to me, that we are merely platonic friends." And then he says yes, and you said, "Okay, fine." Believe what they say. Don't try to put words in their mouth. Don't try to help the conversation. Don't believe the way they said it, sis. You need to believe that. You really, really, really need to believe that, because, girl, that's something. That's something. There's someone, I read a book. I believe it was. I read a book somewhere. I've forgotten who wrote the book, but the person says you may hear the answer you want, or they may tell you they're just looking for something fun for now. But the truth is this: don't try to change their mind, because when you try to change their mind, you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position to be hurt at the end of the day. And finally, decide if you want to stick around. See, once the relationship is defined and you don't want to stick around, it's okay to move. Girl, you got to move. Don't stay there. Don't stay there if you don't have to be there. Move if you need to. Anyways, let me know your thoughts about situationships. And are you in any situationships right now? If you want to share with me, please do feel free to share with me. I'd love to read from you. Later, ladies. Bye for now.